Good afternoon, everybody, and it's Lilia with the Help Yourselves podcast. Hope you're all well. And today I have with me Letiza Mantovani. Obviously Italian name, but you're down in England somewhere, aren't you?
I'm in Manchester. Yes, I'm based in Manchester.
Yes. Now, we met at the BBE, the entrepreneur training, and then you came up to Glasgow to visit us. And you were telling me all about this system that you have invented, really created. And I was like, right, we need to get on a podcast and talk about this. So can you just tell us a little bit about how tell us what the system is, and then tell us how you how you came across it, how you discovered it.
Yes, so the system is called the Mantovani method, which is my surname. So I decided to use it as in honor for my father. So to give a lineage for him to carry on being a woman, obviously. So the Mantovani method is a framework that is based on evidence data. So what I do, I analyze the DNA and I take a sample of the inside of the cheek swab. And then I use quantum frequencies or the quantum medicine to analyze it. So it's an energetic analysis, which goes down to DNA level, down to the molecules at the very beginning of the problem or the issue that we face. Now, what I found with this system, I've been using it for about 20 years since I started my clinic back, a long time ago. And what I found is that pretty much every client of mine, any problem they had, skin conditions, depression, anxiety, bloating issues or difficulties in digestions or even high blood pressure, every single time draw down to the microbiome. So I gathered for 20 years data of clients, and they all came at an origin point. Now, then through my years, what I've done, I've studied microbiology as a master at the university to discover more in depth the microbiome. Now, we know that now, microbiome is a very new science, but it's not really, because scientists have been, studying the microbiome science in silence without actually giving it a name. Now we have a name. We used to call them gut flora, but we didn't know much about it. Now is pretty much the approach is more direct to the bacteria in the guts. So what I've done, I've designed a framework. So once I gather the data, I make a comparison of, for example, what bacteria you have and which bacteria are active, what that information leads to, and then I go backwards. And then I can see, for example, if I have a client who is suffering from anxiety and depression, I can clearly see the difficulties in connections between the gut and the brain axis. So having all of that data allows me to hit exactly where the origin of the problem is. Usually is overload of toxins or products that are in the guts that don't really metabolize correctly. And usually that is originated by poor nutrition. So a lot of processed food, stressful life, difficulty in sleeping, hormonal imbalances. So you might have different symptoms, but then the origin comes down to your guts. So once I identify where the root cause of the problem is, I can create a bespoke protocol that is specific for that person, for the issue, the origin of the issue that this person has. So this is the framework, really. I analyze, I identify what's wrong at molecular level. I clear the path, okay, giving some supplements, usually homeopathic or herbal remedies. And then I start and restore the guts with the bacteria that are actually needed for that person in particular, with a specific protocol. After that, I'll just carry on with the nervous system regulation. So once again, depend on what the problem is. But usually these are the 3 different steps. So you clear the pus, you reset the guts, and then you work on the nervous system, because we know that the nervous system in the guts is extremely powerful. We call it the second brain, but sometimes could be even the first brain, because the first hit comes from the guts. When you have your gut instinct, comes from the guts and then hits your brain, isn't it?
Absolutely, yes.
So this is basically the framework. And what I have actually designed with the framework within the Mantovani method is called the biology of identity. Now, that means that if you are under loads of stress or burnout, and I work with a lot of entrepreneurs that are suffering from brain fog, poor decision making because they can't think straight or because they're too tired, and the body starts to feel depleted. So the biology of identity allows you to identify what's missing in your gut as a regulation, to be able to become yourself again. So to be the powerful person that you are, to reduce the stress, regulate the nervous system, and have a clear thinking so you can perform better. Because you see, with entrepreneurs especially, they have to perform all the time, every single day at the same level. So if their attention drops, they can't perform. They miss deadlines. And then guess what? The family suffers, the relationship suffers. So the biology of identity allows also to improve your relationships, because then you feel calmer, in charge, and you can perform.
Yes, of course, because it affects everyone in the family and everybody in the workplace and everybody in the community.
Exactly.
Yeah. I always say that, when somebody gets diagnosed, it doesn't just happen to one person, it happens to their entire inner circle.
It does.
Not just felt by one person.
It does, yeah, absolutely, because we're human beings, we're not machines, we're not selected. So we are, in fact, that's, the framework that I work with, that I created, it's the holistic way of looking at the human being. You see, loads of microbiologists or naturopaths look at the microbiome just with the bacteria knowledge, but you can't just look at one single thing to solve your problem. It's a combination of systems. The human body is very complex, so the system has to be in harmony within itself at different levels, and that also includes, the nervous system.
Absolutely. I mean, the nervous system, and that's what we're seeing right now, is so many people it's stuck on. They just can't come out of it. And that, of course, has long-term, very detrimental effects to your levels of and your quality of life. Now, so let's just start from the beginning, because you said a few things there that maybe people wouldn't understand you. So I come to you. What's the first thing that you do?
The first things I ask you, why did you come to see me? So I want you to see what is your problem, but not just say symptoms wise. I want you to understand what is your lifestyle like, what is your daily routines like, what type of foods you eat, what type of jobs you have, what interactions you have with other people, because I need to understand the context. Then I simply say, okay, perfect. So I start to have a clear vision of what kind of archetype you are. So what type of person you could have, type of symptoms of issues you could have. Okay, and this comes with experience. Unfortunately, it's nothing that you can just teach in 5 minutes. It's an understanding that comes with years and years of practice. Then I collected the DNA. Now, I can do this remote. I don't have to see people in the clinic directly. And I started to do it remote after COVID. And I found that actually it's a bit easier, because it's less time consuming for the clients as well. There's less traveling and less disturbances. So I collect, or I let the client to collect with a swab. I send a test kit home, basically, and very easy to take. You just cotton buds inside of the cheeks, rubbing for a few seconds in each side, and then you put it into the test tube, and then you post it back to me. Once I receive the sample, I put it into a machine. And now I haven't got it open here, but I can show you. This is a black box connected to my machine, and inside I'll put the samples inside. Once it's all inside, I can then instruct the device and tell them what to look for. And I can look at anything I want in the human body. Everything is in the matrix of the DNA of the inside of the
Yes.
chick. So once I receive all the reading, I need some time to interpret the results. The results are not that easy to interpret, but here comes the experience. So once I have the collection of my data, I do a report with my findings. And 100% of the time, when I give my report to the clients, and I say, do you see yourself in this? And they go, gosh, yes, how did you know? Some data, DNA doesn't lie.
Yeah.
So once I have that report, I create a protocol specific to the person, because I know exactly what's wrong, where, how long it's going to take to solve, to solve the problem. Usually it's a protocol of 12 weeks that the person has to follow. Now, with this protocol, I also have an addition of food intolerances. So I can see which foods are actually good for your DNA and which food are not so good. So based on that, so you receive the list of the foods that you're not supposed to have because are energetically burdening yourself. So your digestive system is not working very well, or the bacteria do not work very well with these ingredients. So once I have the full list, I'll give you the instructions. Now, from this list, you can eat as many as you want. From the second list, the amber list, you just should reduce it. And then from the red list, avoid it for a period of time. So that already starts, even just following the diet with a few little adjustments, you can start and see big improvements in your symptoms, regardless if they are bloating symptoms or skin conditions or energy levels. So really, nutrition is medicine, really.
Yeah,
but we
absolutely.
need to, because sometimes, you see, I have a client who has a very bad skin condition, and he said to me, yes, but I eat pomegranate every day because it's good. And I said, yes, it is, but not for you.
Yes.
Because it is a healthy food, but for your condition at the moment, is actually causing inflammation.
Yeah.
So you should. And it was like, oh gosh, I didn't realize. I thought it was good because it's good. So sometimes good food and healthy food, it's not healthy for you. So if your DNA says no, so you should avoid it for at least a period of time.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's the thing. I mean, Peter D'Adamo sort of did that: food is medicine, neutral foods, and then poisons, food that acts like poison. And, that can be what's right. And that's why one size doesn't fit all and one diet doesn't fit all of that.
Exactly.
So you're using this quantum technology to give you this information. Is that the part that you invented?
I haven't invented the quantum technology. They've been around for hundreds of years. But I have developed it in my own practice, the way I use it. Because sometimes you go to some practitioners and, they're very good and experienced, but they haven't got the scientific background to understand fully what frequencies are behaving like. So being a scientist, I am data-driven. So I've even constructed my own programs using frequencies. And you have to have an understanding of the physics, how the physics works, the world of physics. And sometimes, you see, when some clients come to me, and they used to come to me and say, yes, but I've got these symptoms, so put the machine on and give me a treatment. Well, that is not really what it's supposed to do. So you're supposed to look.
Does the system treat?
Yes, the system treats, absolutely. Yeah. You can be attached to the machines and have a treatment, but if you're just doing it that way, you're just treating a symptom. You're not looking at the root cause and changing your lifestyle. So when I was using that system 20 years ago, I then realized that I ended up being like a GP. Yeah. Like the clients come to my clinic with a symptom. I test, yes, you've got this, you've got that. I put on the machine, I treat it, but I haven't actually told you, and actually I haven't actually looked at the.
Oh. We have lost contact. Let me see what's happened. Could be a phone situation where your battery dies. Let me see if I can make contact. So anyway, while we're waiting, Letitia is going to be hopefully coming up for one of the festivals, and also going to be, sorry, oh, there she goes.
Reasons.
I don't know what happened. You cut off.
We just went, and I was like, oh my goodness.
No, I was still here. It was you that you dropped out for some reason. I'm not sure. Anyway, I was just telling people, I don't know if you've decided, are you going to be able to come up to the festival?
Now, I am not sure that I'm going to be in the country yet. So as soon as I confirm, because I'm traveling, here and there and around the world. So as soon as I know for sure that I'm going to be in the country at that time, then I will confirm it.
But however, you will come up to the hub, and people will be able to come and meet you if they want to there, etc.
Yes, we can organize a day where I can come and do some demonstrations and then, see the way I work. That's absolutely fine. We can do that. Yeah. We're gonna, even if it's not during the festival time, we can organize another date, and then I can come up to Glasgow with great pleasure.
So let's just go over this again for the sake of people that are unaware of exactly how it works. So you start off, if you were exhibiting symptoms and you think this sounds like something that could help me, you would do the swab, you'd post it away, and you would put it into the system, and you would feed back all the information. Now, you said there was 3 things: unblocking the pathways.
Yeah, clear the pathway, reset the garden, rebalance. Yes, and rebalance the nervous system.
And so how do you do that? One at a time. Number 1, how do you do them?
So first of all, we need to see where the blockages are. And then, for example, if you have a bile flow that is blocking your intestine from performing well, then I'll give you some homeopathic treatments or herbal remedies for the liver, for example, or for the bile flow, and you will have 3 to 4 weeks of that treatment. That creates a clean start, okay, of detoxification.
So that's a physical product.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's an homeopathic product or herbal remedies. I tend to use those 2 type of products. The second part, reset the garden. So we build the macroflora again. We build the microbiome. Sometimes using probiotics, like with specific strains that I choose, or using some homeopathic treatments. It depends what I found. So it's not one treatment fits all. But the focus is on the second phase. We are building the gut microbiomes. Okay, which part actually it needs to be growing properly. Okay, so you need to increase the diversity of the bacteria. Once again, homeopathic or supplements targeted for specific strains. The third part, I tend to use adaptogens like ashwagandhas and other products to rebalance the nervous system. But in all of this protocol, there is a change in lifestyle. So a food mapping that is given by the list of the foods that I provide according to the reading. So the diet needs to be changed. The habits needs to be changed. You may need to add some grounding. So going to walk outside in bare feet for 10 days. I may include some breath work 3 times a day to help the vagus nerve. So there is a lot in the protocol that is taken into consideration. Reducing also exposure to microwaves, EMFs, and electronics, wireless electronics. That is also taken into consideration.
Sorry, somebody was trying to call me there.
Okay. So so these are the 3 phases, but it's not one fits all. So it's all depends the readings that I get. These are just guidelines. So you could
Yes.
have the same symptoms of somebody else's, but the treatment is completely different because you might have a different root cause.
So you personalise the programme based around what
Absolutely.
you see and obviously all the
Yeah.
experience that you've had. And so how often would the person see you in that 12 weeks?
So I have, it really depends. I have different type of protocols. So if a person decides to have the 12 weeks protocol with me, then it's like kind of even weekly conversations we have. If a person just decides to have the test and then go by themselves because they have the instructions, it's fine. They can, after they finish the 12 weeks, they can come back and say, oh, by the way, I found this, and that, or do I need another test? And then, we can decide how to go about. So it's all depends on the need of the person. It's not that I just do this and then that's it. But usually, even with my clients, if they just do one test, I tend to follow up quite often to say how you're getting on. Is this working for you? Do you think it's changing, or what is not working? So usually it's always very positive. So sometimes I have clients who send me a text and says, oh, week 5, everything is absolutely great. I've got much more energy. My lifestyle is changed. I feel a bit better and things like that. So these are nice feedbacks that I receive pretty much constantly from my clients.
Yeah, fantastic. And what sort of symptoms, obviously what we're seeing right now is a lot of chronic autoimmune issues,
Yeah, I
vaccine
have the
damage,
same.
long
Yeah.
COVID, chronic fatigue on just a
Yeah,
whole.
fibromyalgia, quite a lot is
Yes.
coming out as well. Yeah, our autoimmune conditions, a lot. I also deal with that. And the beauty of it is that the autoimmune condition is a response to something, okay?
Yeah.
And is very treatable once you know where is the origin. So which bacteria you have that is actually not working, but is increasing the inflammation in your guts. Because the autoimmune condition is a low-grade inflammation to start with. So we have to basically take the autoimmune condition is a consequence of something else. It's not your
Yes.
diagnosis, it's a consequence. So you have to go in reverse and see where is the first building block that didn't work.
Yes.
Once you identify that, then you can step by step take the blocks away and then adjust the immune response, decrease the inflammation, and then you can start even, in certain cases, reduce it to being reversed in some cases. But it does take a long time and you need to be followed by a practitioner. You can't just reverse an autoimmune condition by yourself. That's clear.
Yeah, you need support. And are you seeing a lot of candida?
That pretty much everybody who's got some gut issue and immunity conditions or fibromyalgia, they all have candida fungal infections. They all have. And I think everybody on the planet has some sort of candida. Absolutely everybody, every person on the planet has it. Yeah. And it's very difficult to eliminate it.
A top stressor or not. So obviously, I don't know what, so the elimination diet, cutting out all the things that feed it. And then would you use homeopathic remedies to get the fungus under control or what?
You see, I wouldn't really use the nutrition for candida as a first line of aggression because it depletes even more the microbiome. So I would alter the diet, but not with a strict 100%. You like to be a gradual change. Now, what I do work on with patients who have candida problems, it's to build. So first, clear the path. So you get rid of the parasites or fungal infections with something that helps eliminate them. Okay, so you reduce the load. Then you start and build the microbiome. Now, if you have a healthy microbiome, the microbiome will eat the candida. So we'll feed on that and get rid of it naturally. So is your body starting to. And in that way, also, the immune system will start and work better. Okay? So you start and become a little bit stronger. And also, once you balance the microbiome, the nervous system is also adjusted, because candida also is linked to stress.
Absolutely.
Okay, so once you're reducing the stress, the candida also gets reduced. Diet is extremely important. I look at it from the microbiome standpoint. Diversity, plenty of vegetables, plant-based, pretty much, really. Okay, so that will help. But then you will also need to have some homeopathic treatments. But as I said, not necessarily targeting the candida, because you're only treating the symptom. You're not treating the root cause of it.
Yeah.
So if you're building a strong microbiome, and if you're building a strong immune system, then is your body working? Yeah. So that's the game changer, you see. You make your body work for it. Instead of giving an homeopathic treatment for candida, you're actually producing whatever you need in your body to fight it. So next time the infection comes, the body knows what to do, because the signaling is already there.
Yes.
So they already have the instruction on how to deal with the infection.
Yeah, and what about heavy metals? Do you see that a lot?
Heavy metals, anytime you have a parasite condition like parasitic infection, you always have heavy metals, because heavy metals are used as a shield, and the parasites hide behind it. So if you have if I see in the reading that you have an overload of parasites, you also have an overload of heavy metals. So if that is the situation, we need to get rid of the heavy metals first, and then we have to look for the parasites elimination. Yeah, they all go hand in hand, definitely.
And would you use a binder for heavy metals?
Absolutely, yeah. I tend to use a zeolite. I really like zeolite. I found in my patients that is very, very effective and acts very fast. So I would do a treatment with zeolite to start with for a week or two on its own. And then after that, starting with the herbal remedies, the 3 herbs, wormwood, black walnuts, and clove together to do the parasitic elimination. Yeah.
What's your thoughts on clove water for helping with parasites?
I don't think it's strong enough. I think it's because, you see, the problem with parasites is not the quantity, it's the life cycle. Every parasite has a different life cycle. Okay, so clove only acts to a certain amount of it. So you need that's why I use the 3 different combinations, because they hit different times of the life cycles. And I tend to have treatments. I mean, there are some parasites, that actually the life cycle is about 7 years.
Really?
So if you imagine, so if you imagine that, a treatment of 2 weeks or 3 months is not going to even touch them, because they will keep coming back. So it's having clove water is okay, but it's not enough to get rid of the parasites. And also you also need to get rid of the heavy metals as well before, actually. But it's a good antibacterial, so it's always better than nothing. I think it's quite healthy to do it.
Yeah, I was kind of drawn to it. When I was up in Skye and when I was in Cretan, I just had some, and I don't intuitively felt it was a good thing to do. And I also think for, instead of waiting until your symptoms are really annoying or severe, it's almost like that microdosing and just trying to keep the ecosystem
That's
balanced.
good, because it's an antiseptic. So it does help. It does really help. If you're feeling run down, as I said, it's better than nothing. What I use, which is extremely powerful, which is I make it myself homemade. I make oregano oil.
Oh, right. You make it yourself.
Yeah. So when I go to Italy, and I went to Sicily not long ago, and I bought quite a bit of oregano, dried oregano from Sicily, which is absolutely the best. It's so strong, it's so good. So I've made some oregano oil with extra virgin olive oil, and I put it in, infused it and everything for quite a long time. And then I put it in a droplet. Every time I feel a little bit tired, okay, I'm feeling that I'm going down with a little bit of cold or whatever it is, I take a few drops underneath my tongue, and I believe me, nothing comes.
Yes.
No flu, no colds. The day after I'm fine. I never get sick. For some
Yes.
reason, that is such a powerful, because it's a very powerful antibacterial, but also helps the immune system. You see,
Yes.
so these are very natural ingredients that cost a little money to make home, but can really be a lifesaver for energy, brain fog, fatigue, and and plus going through the winter months, instead of taking paracetamol or lemsip, just a few drops of oregano oil, and
Absolutely.
that's you're done. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's fantastic. That's I'm clear now on exactly how it is you work. So how long is would this a session be, the first session with you?
So because I work from remote, I just do consultation by video calls, and it can be half an hour or it can be 2 hours. It depends on the need of the person and the complexity that is on the person. Now, then, I'll do when I collect the samples and I have all my tests and report ready. I send the report to the client so they can actually start in reading it. And then they can book another free call with me, and usually lasts about an hour, sometimes less, sometimes more. So that is the opportunity when the person asks loads of questions about what's this, what's that, and how am I going to deal with this, and so it's like kind of a comprehensive. I tend to look after my clients very well because it's such a bespoke service, and I think
Yes.
once you understand the root cause of your problem. I had a client. Now, this girl from Italy, she called me with a mom. She was 25-year-old in bed, fibromyalgia. She's been for 10 years, seeing doctors left, right, and center. Nobody can find what's wrong with her. And she says, Letitia, we're going to give it a last shot. We know your prices are very high, but we are desperate. This girl doesn't work. She's in bed all day, all night. She's not living. She's got no life. Anyhow, we ran the test, gave the report, start the medication. 2 weeks later, the mom called me and she says, you cannot imagine, she's out of bed. She's got much more energy. Pain in the legs is starting to be less. She's starting to have, only 2 weeks later. And I was like, wow, this is fast. Because usually it takes about 4 weeks. And she noticed straight away. Then 2 weeks afterwards, she calls me and she says, you're right, the muscles now feel much lighter. She can go for a walk. We went to a wedding and she was be able to be there all day. And I was like, wow, this is amazing.
Oh, that's fantastic. There's nothing better when you help people, is there? It's such a rewarding thing to do. And sometimes my friend always says this, feeling better might only be a few days away.
No, exactly. But some people, I like, and sometimes they think, oh, this is too much, but then they spend money in other treatments and they take you nowhere. Whereas, it's true, my services, they're not cheap. I recognize that. But you imagine that. You can actually have a solution to your problems. Just with one test, you already know exactly what your problem. So you're no more spending for later on because you know exactly what to do.
Yes. And then how do you find that, because obviously we know we have to look at a holistic lifestyle and all the different areas that could be creating problems for our immune system.
Yeah.
And after 12 weeks, if people manage to, I like the idea, you do this for a few weeks and then we add in this for a few weeks, that seems really doable. But how do they manage after 3 months? Do they
usually call me back. They usually call me back and they say, can I have another test to see the comparison? How am I doing? And I say, yes, you can have another test, but tell me how you're feeling, because that is the data that is the most important, the results.
That's exactly what I say too. You don't need the test. How do you feel? But we like the test, don't we?
Exactly. Because sometimes they say you don't need a test. You don't need another one, because call me in 3 months' time. If you're feeling that you're not actually getting, if you reach the plateau, then give it 6 months, and then you can call me, and then we do another test, because 6 months is okay. Yeah. But usually people manage because they started, you see, the lifestyle changed and the mindset has changed. They learned how to live.
it's the mindset's the big thing, isn't it? It's actually understanding what we're putting in our mouths can dictate how we feel tomorrow and the next day.
Exactly. But you see, when they start and see that they've got energy, brain fog is gone, they can perform, they can go out, they can do this, they can do that, they're happy families and stuff, they think, okay, actually, I'm not going back to the previous. But as you said, they need sometimes some coaching to keep on track, because not everybody is the same. So the constant reminders is also good. I'm usually with them available. They know they can send me a text and then I reply pretty quick, you see. So they know they've got a point of contact that they can relate to or ask if they need. Or if they need extra, they can simply book another consultation. We just have a chat. And then, we go back in track and I can give extra advice or introduce more, tweak few things, basically.
Mm-hmm. Now, if anybody listening is feeling that they would like to try, what is the cost?
Right. So I have a very different entry levels. So I've got a £97 for an entry level mini reset microbiome test. So that is accessible to everybody. The second level is the full digestive system at £497. That is already a very, very good, and sometimes is actually quite enough to understand what's going on with your full digestive system, because also gives some insights of low-grade inflammation, how your body works with regard to biochemistry and the microbiome. Plus, I check the liver, the pancreas. So there are a few other things that are attached to that. So that comes at £497. The most expensive, and believe it or not, is the one that I sell most. It's $897. It's a full body scan. Because with that, you have the absolute clarity of what's going on entirely in your body. Mm-hmm. So you can see, for example, if you have a thyroid problem, it will come out, you see, and that will be, the gut and thyroid axis, okay? So if you have a skin condition, for example, the skin condition tend to come out also with the digestive system, but with a full body scan, you also look at the heart, the respiratory system, your bones, your muscles. So it's a very, it's a full body scan. And I think $897 is so cheap, because for what you get, it's really amazing. I know it sounds expensive, but there's a lot of science behind.
No, it's life-changing, isn't it?
It is.
And if it can't work, I mean, it's a bit of the chicken and egg, but I mean, to get that gift, to get your life back is
exactly
priceless.
And then I've got the 12 weeks protocol. That is the biology of identity signature protocol. That is a full-on, basically. That comes at £2,500, but it's discounted to the first, let's say, 10 people I get is discounted to 1,300. So you have the biology of identity, so it's the full body scan with a full follow-up every single week free of charge. So it's actually a very extremely good value for money. But that it comes, it's like a special offer that I have only for a limited amount of numbers, limited amount of people. Yeah, otherwise it's a full price of $2,500 once I reach the level of the clients, you see.
Yeah. That's fantastic, because I think that level of support and being able to ask you questions and get the answers is invaluable, because, well, I know for me, I mean, I work with the Quest 9, so it's a biofeedback system, but over 12 weeks, you're starting to look at the changes of habits and the understanding around the body and what's causing the stress, because it's a big education program.
It is actually, yes.
For the client to
it's life-changing. It's when you think about it, it's a no-brainer, because in your lifetime, how much money you spend in supplements, going to this doctor and then the other doctor, and then you go to the other ones, and you still got no results, no answers. Whereas with my protocol, you actually have 12 weeks results guaranteed. I haven't had anybody failed on these 12 weeks. That's why I put it on 12 weeks, because it works. It really does, Yeah, it's proven. It really is a good deal. Yeah.
Well, that's great. Thank you so much for your time, for coming on and telling us all about it. I've put your website on the event and also in the box now, so people can contact you directly if they would like to find out more. And you and I can discuss you coming up to the Health Hub Academy and doing a demonstration, and people can get to meet you and then see if it's something that would work for them.
Yeah, absolutely. It would be a great pleasure for me to come up.
Yeah, great. We'll definitely get that in the diary. Well, listen, thank you so much, Anna. Great to see you. Are you going to be at the BBE in April?
I don't think so, because I'm traveling. I've got quite a bit of appointments already, so I'm a little bit busy. So
okay.
I will have a look. I will have a look.
Maybe see you in May then.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
Okay. Thanks a million.
You take care. Bye.
Ciao.
Take care. Ciao. Ciao. Ciao.